Hi, everybody. I'm Olivia Epscott, the creator of Freedom at the Mat. And today we are going to have an important conversation about how toxic relationships can affect your well being and the importance of your environment for a healthy lifestyle. Joining us to talk about her personal firsthand experience firsthand is beautiful and boss lady inside and out, Michelle Martinez. She's the owner of New Orleans-based Beso Beauty. Ambitious at a very young age, with a background in art, Michelle began her career in the makeup industry at the age of 16 with her very own studio. She immersed herself into the cosmetic industry and she never, ever looked back. Today, Michelle is at the top of her game as a master of microblading and other permanent cosmetic techniques. We have some questions for her at the end about those techniques as well. So hang in there with us for the entire episode. Michelle has become one of the most sought out artists in New Orleans. And I recently met her, was captivated by her spirit and her beautiful spirit. She's just an incredible, incredible woman. Grateful that she's joining us today to talk about thriving in healthy environment and removing yourself from toxicity. Michelle Martinez, welcome to Freedom at the Mat. How are you
I'm
today?
doing great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. I'm blessed. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. Thank you for making time to have this conversation with us today.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. So, you are an extraordinarily beautiful woman. You are a super successful entrepreneur, and you're also really grounded and very in tune with yourself. You shared with me when we were in the Goldman Sachs program that when your son was around 10 months old, which is about 6 years ago now, you fainted. Can you walk us through that moment and what the doctor said was the cause of it?
Yeah, so I always have immersed myself into work, working a whole lot of hours, things like that. And one day, well, it was about like 3 days consecutively that I wasn't feeling myself. I was kind of had a ongoing migraine that did not go away. I usually get Botox for my migraines, but this time it just didn't work. And my coworker was like, "You're starting to turn a little discolored." What happened was I was doing a client and I just had like a cold, like a hot flash kind of almost. And I was getting really dizzy, like if I was gonna faint. And I was like, okay, I can't do this. You're right. And mid client, thank God it was a Halloween makeup look, but she actually took me to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, they saw that I was discolored. And so it was jaundice. And also, I was really weak. I could barely walk. And they admitted me and they started doing a whole bunch of different tests. I was actually there for 3 weeks straight. They were trying to figure out, what was the cause, like what happened, what do I have, things like that. At first, they said it was acute liver failure and I had hemolytic anemia, which my red blood count was really, really low. That's why I was so weak. And it went down to a hemoglobin 5. So not only was I like really weak, couldn't walk, but I was just very like jaundice, fatigue, things like that. So that was the start of everything.
And so, as you explored what was happening, what was actually happening that caused you to get to that point of illness in your life?
Well, so fast forward to, the medications and things like that. I do a lot of research and I'm my own advocate. So I was on the fence with the things that they wanted me to do. I wanted to see a second opinion. So I went to the Mayo Clinic and to reevaluate everything because they had put me on steroids at the hospital here. Very strong dose, like 80 milligrams if you're familiar with it. But and it affected me tremendously to where I couldn't sleep. Uh, Gained 70 pounds in like 2 weeks, literally. And so seeing the Mayo Clinic, they tapered me off, things like that. I still wasn't happy with what they wanted me to take because it was immunocompromising medication, which just going outside and feeling the sun, I felt like I was burning. And then also, another medication for the liver was like this black box medication from a specialty pharmacy, which also had a very high chance of my liver failing regardless. So what I did was I paused and I just started listening to my body because during that whole time, I tried to be very in tune with my body and listening to what's happening, not only within, but my surroundings as well, and what was happening in my surroundings that was causing me to not feel well within. So once you start connecting those two things together and being very in tune, I also did a holistic approach to it with Gerson therapy. And I mix them up a little bit so that way I wasn't just doing one thing because I couldn't just stop cold turkey the other. And it was like a lot of like diet and juicing and supplements and things like that. So it was just figuring out what what was working for me.
Got you. And did the doctors ever tell you, and I personally love the fact that you went on your own journey. I think a lot of us aren't confident enough to go on our own journey to figure out, okay, this is what they're telling me is one thing, but I'm the best advocate for myself and I'm going on my own journey. So kudos to you for doing that. So what you were saying was you believe that what was causing your body to get that level of breakdown was the environment that you were in. You were in a toxic household or a toxic relationship. Can you walk us through without anything that's gonna make you uncomfortable or anything that is going to violate anybody else's privacy? Can you share with us for yourself, what you were involved in?
Definitely. So during that time, I had just had my son, 10 months. I had the best pregnancy in the world. I loved every minute of it. Didn't have any complications with I don't even know what it feels like to have a baby. I didn't have any contractions. I worked until my due date. Like I was just very happy. So because that was one of the things they said, oh, it could have been from the pregnancy, but in reality, I was in a very toxic relationship that I knew that I needed to get out of. Basically was I was ignoring all the things, all the red flags, all of the things that was happening, and I was immersing myself in things that I love, which is my career and then my son and the new life that I was creating, right? But at that moment, it wasn't that bad. So it was like, oh, okay, it's just a journey. Not everybody has, it's not always peaches and cream. It's, sometimes it's a little rocky. And, that's something that you seem to normalize, right? With as years went by, we had, of course, COVID that happened. And so you're more inside, things was happening. And, some things you can't ignore and dealing with a situation that you've never dealt with before. In my case,
Mm.
my partner did get addicted to opioids, so it was something that I was unfamiliar with as far as addiction, and s- being in that environment and knowing that that's what I was going home to and not feeling safe or comfortable, and just immersing myself in work. And in the beauty industry, you are your clients everything, right? They tell you everything about their life. You're here to make them. I'm here to make them feel beautiful. So it was something that I just kind of kept inside and just work, to get out of that environment. And as years went by, I just started getting sick and not knowingly, right? And so fast forward to when that happened, it was actually the worst times in my relationship when I was feeling the sickest and I was trying to heal myself and I was trying to pay attention what's really happening. That's when I realized, okay, in order for me to survive this, because they gave me 6 years to live and things like that. And I was like, no, it's something that's not in my body and it's something that's not coming from medically. It's the toxic environment around me because your body
Whoa.
can't basically it can decipher if you're stressed out from environmental toxins, drugs, things like that. It can't really, it just knows that your body's in a state of stress and it's trying to tell you that your body's in a state of stress. So I like to read a lot
Correct.
of things like that. And so what so happened was the liver is the organ of suppressed anger. So when I read that, I had like an ah moment and it was wow, that's resonates with me so much because I was suppressing my anger. At work, I was just so happy. Everything was perfect, according to the world, I was in the most happiest time of my life, but in reality, it was me trying to escape. So once I put those two and two together, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do because I stopped the holistic therapy. The medicine I was barely taking it. I was kind of tapering it off like myself. And
Mhm, mhm.
I got off of it. I got off of it. I left my partner. I actually like woke up and said in my head, I'm done. And I
Yes!
I said I was going to the bank and I never came back. Um yes. And
Did you take yourself with you? Did you take yourself?
I took myself and my son. I
What?
Yes. And so that moment was the happiest time of my life. I went to Target, bought a toothbrush. I went to go clean my car after, got us a smoothie, me and my son. My friend had a boutique. I got some clothes for the week and I stayed by my friends. And then I just didn't look back. Didn't go back at all actually. And
Did he was there a drama? Do you mind sharing? Was there drama with him calling and trying to get you back?
it was yeah,
Okay, but you were like, "I'm not going back."
yeah. That was the done deal. And then, I ended up getting a restraining order, 2 years, things like that. I don't wanna get too into that part of it, but
Yeah,
it
of
was
course, of
it
course.
was very liberating to the point where I after, like, 3 weeks that I was on a waiting list for an apartment, I was like, oh my god, this is like, nothing could bother me. Nothing in the world. I even ran into the garage. I had changed my car as well. I ran to the garage of my, new apartment, and I was like, "Oh, this is all? This is all I have to go through? This is beautiful." Just go. Now, like yeah. Now, like, certain things, like, most things, I'm, like, unbothered because I've already went through almost dying a couple times, the most toxic thing in the world. So now it's basically me just maintaining my peace, healing, and now I'm at a point that I feel healed and now I'm rebuilding. So, we had tried to do this podcast a while ago, and at that I was thinking about it this morning and I was like, at that time I was still healing. So it was more I was speaking from more of a different place, but now that it's been, like, almost a year later, like, I didn't even wanna revisit certain things, but I was like, "You know what?" Like, I'm totally unattached emotionally so much that, like, I'm totally healed, and now it's just me focusing on the growth within my personal life, and my business life, really. But, yeah, like, that's just in the past at this point.
When you look back in retrospect now, do you have a reason for why you think that you remained in a toxic relationship?
Yes. Oh, and then we had Ida too. We had Ida in the midst of that too. My business got messed up and my house got messed up. So not too bad, thankfully, but we did had to repair some things, a lot of things. But that was another year-long journey that I had to, stay.
Repair? Wow.
Um, to be honest, I think that
Yeah.
because I was raised in a two-parent household. And I did see so many ups and downs and, but nothing like in those terms, but just like different like things where like my father went to a different state to finish his schooling and, just different different things. So I was like, okay, well, it's normal for relationships to go through things and then, mend again or whatever. But and I think it was because I was holding a lot in and I was almost ashamed of what I was going through that I since I wasn't speaking up on it so much, I kind of like would throw it under the rug and just keep it going because and I was so busy with life that it was just like, "Oh my god, whatever." Like, it was
Yep, so you part of it was just like it was just part of the background of your life, and you saw some things, but you didn't really you had enough other things going on in your life. So for all of my busy professional women, or just busy women in general, professional or not, doesn't really matter, um, it's okay to slow down. If something's not feeling right, it's probably not right. But you were just like, "Wait a minute, there's something
yeah,
else
yeah,
happening. There's something."
life slowed me down, like, because at that point I was hospitalized and I couldn't work for a month, and then I barely worked for about 3 months after that because I was flying to Mayo Clinic and then doing all of the things, and my body was going through so much, so, y it my life forced me to slow down to see from a bird's eye view what was happening, and and I I couldn't be more thankful for not what happened, but that I was the person that went through it because I'm able to speak on it and I'm able to see things that, if I were to follow the medical advice and things like that, I definitely wouldn't be here today. The way that I would the way that it was going, the path it was going.
So you mentioned that you healed yourself. Right? So for anybody listening who is like, "What is she talking about?" What exactly was involved in you healing yourself? If you were to summarize, what did that mean?
Just really listening to what the doctors were saying and what they didn't know, because it's a whole lot of fluff, a whole lot of terminology, and I was doing research in and out, asking them questions, and a lot of the answers to those questions I don't know, or luck of the draw, or it was very so broad and uncertain that I wasn't okay with the uncertainty, and s balancing that with my life. So, as for the hemolytic anemia, I knew that my body was losing my blood, like, attacking my blood when I felt it inside. So I was starting to tune in with that, and then what was happening in the environment, just really paying attention of how I felt in certain scenarios. And also, like, just reading a lot, spiritual books like, positivity, and, there is a lot of studies of healing yourself and healing within and being a part of just like meditating and feeling good and doing things that are holistic, diet, things like that. So it all comes in conjunction, but also like if you
Mm.
stress, I also stopped the Gerson therapy because it was so much stress of following that protocol that also wasn't doing me any good. So it was just you almost have to just kind of trust yourself and your instincts and just do what makes you feel right. And that's I feel like that's what I did, just reading a lot and just listening to my body.
Okay, cool. So final question, and this part would go into the part about your business. So, Michelle, for anybody listening right now, you are a hero. There are so many women who are in toxic or they're in domestic violent relationship, whether they're women or men, and they don't feel as if they can make that change. You got up one day, you made up your mind, you took your son, you took a few things, and you rolled out. So, what advice would you have for women or men who are in these relationships where they know that the toxicity is killing them, right? What would you say for those who don't feel as if they can affect their environment? They really feel stuck. It could be financially. We have people listening to this all over the world. And a lot of times, what I know from going to third world areas that, many women, the education level is really low, and we really don't feel as if we can leave an abusive relationship. So, do you have any advice or encouragement for any woman listening who might feel that that's fine that you was able to get up, but I don't have a car? that's fine that I don't have any friends. What would you tell them?
I would say every situation's so different, but I would say to find like-minded people, try to attach yourself with, if it's a Bible study group, if it's a book club, if it's a just try to make connections with people with if it's your family, because a lot of times when you're in a relationship like that, that person takes you away from having close friends like that because they don't want you to escape, right? So you have to make relationships and be okay with uh expressing yourself and being able to tell people, confide in people because you never know what can lead what opportunities you can get if somebody might lend you a helping hand, especially if you're stuck in a bad situation. So things might be really hard, but at the other end of it, oh my god, the relief, the feeling is like no other. So it's just basically like just don't give up and just really feel like it's gonna get better. And you didn't go through this for nothing. It happened for you, not to you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. As we round this out, I do want to talk about Beso Beauty, which is a very in-demand New Orleans-based microblading and permanent cosmetic technique company. Got a couple of questions for you that are really for me, but it's going to enlighten everybody listening too. So I want you to say if this is true or false. Are you ready? Permanent makeup cannot be reversed, even in the event of a mistake.
False,
Permanent makeup looks fake and unnatural.
false,
Permanent makeup chemicals are dangerous to your long-term health.
false,
Permanent makeup ruins your skin.
false,
Permanent makeup is for your face only.
false.
Permanent makeup is painful. Permanent makeup is makeup painful and uncomfortable. Did you want to address that one differently?
Well, to put them all in one category, going to the right person and doing your research of where you're getting it done is the most important thing. Whether it's the chemicals and the ingredients and the pigment, or how it's gonna look, how it's gonna if he's gonna scar your skin, it's all about the artist and their education. So that will make everything night and day.
Well, I know you've got some pretty high profile clients and say you are the queen. If people want to get more information about you or come to your company, where do they go, Michelle?
Well, the salon is called Beso Makeup and the school is called Beso Beauty School. They can reach us at 504-518-4461, or they can go on our website, besomakeup.com, or the school's website, besobeauty.com. And yeah, just call us and we can answer any questions that you have.
All right. For everybody listening today, I hope that you've enjoyed this really vulnerable and powerful conversation that Michelle and I have had. I honor you for making this space and for your courage. And we cover you and put all types of prayers around you and hope that you sharing with others will not come back to harm you in any way, your family in any way. And we're proud of you. We're proud to know you, Michelle. I love hearing that you took one step and you never looked back, and may God continue to bless and keep you. And for all women or men who are listening now, who are in toxic environments, I hope that you take heed to what Michelle said, that you have the opportunity to change your life. It's about changing your thinking. Find community with people that you feel comfortable with and safe with, and then find your exit to have the best life ever. May God continue to bless each of you. Ashe.